This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work, responding to another Ask Prof. Wolff question from our Patreon community. This one comes from Rui Claudino from Portugal. Rui asks about Portugal, whether we can expect to make much headway advocating for worker co-ops, so long as Western culture, and Portugal in particular, are covered in, drowning in, deeply committed to individualism as opposed to the community or the society. Individualism versus community. This back and forth either or is an old issue in Western thought and indeed in much of the rest of the world as well. So I'd like to talk about it in terms of advocacy for worker co-ops. And I think the central response I would make, and I understand Rui's question, to be involved in a worker co-op is to have a deep commitment to collectivity, to working issues out, to building a community. But it's a community of individuals, and that I think has to be where we go with this issue. And what I mean by that is to borrow a page from Hegel and from Marx, people who I have learned a great deal from in my life. So here we go. The individual and the community are themselves not polar opposites, but conditions of one another, shapers of one another, caught up in an endless dialectic of mutual transformation. Let me explain. The individual, whatever he or she is shaped by the community in which they exist, into which literally they are born. Initially, the community perhaps of the family, then of the larger extended family, then of the neighborhood, the tribe, the community, the society. Those institutions that comprise the society, small or large, shape who we are, literally what our individuality amounts to. But because each of us is positioned in a different place, your mother is not mine, your household is not mine, your town is not mine. Each of us is individuated. Each of us is the product of a uniquely structured environment. So we're all different. And in our differences, we also impact one another. And in our differences and our impacts on one another, we also transform the society. In other words, the society shapes the individual and vice versa. So perhaps the way to advocate for worker co-ops is to grab hold of this dialectical, mutually changing, open-ended interaction and to say that in order for individuals to change their workplaces, to make them democratic, to make them genuine communities, there will have to be changed individuals. True enough. But likewise, to change individuals so that they do appreciate, welcome, and make good use of workplaces that are democratic, we need to make those workplaces democratic because that changed structure will alter the people inserted into it. If we transform a capitalist, hierarchical workplace in the factory, in the office, in the store, into a collectively democratically run community, we are not only changing the structure, we will be changing the individuals who constructed that structure, who made that conversion to that structure happen. And as those individuals construct and work in a democratically run worker co-op, their individuality changing will change the co-op. It will not be next year the way it was this year. The individuals within it will leave as deep an imprint upon it as the creation of it as a social institution leaves on them as individuals. Let's not get caught up in the either or. It's not our job to pick between two aspects of a continuously interactive totality. That's really one of the lessons that Hegel's philosophy and Marx's application of it to society teach. And I think it is very helpful to understand the importance of creating worker co-ops because of their intrinsic value, but also because of how they will change workers, individual workers, each in an individual way, and to welcome that those individuals with their distinctive qualities will also react back on one another and on the institution of democratic workplaces. Capitalist enterprises changed from what they began as in England in the 17th century and everywhere else in the succeeding centuries. Capitalism was always changed by the people it had changed from the feudalism that pre-existed capitalism. There again, the change from a feudal manner to a capitalist enterprise changed individuals in basic ways, who in turn changed that capitalism across its history. Just like those changed individuals, now more than ever, are looking at that capitalism and saying, we can, we should, and we will do better. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.